Hi all. Um, right, I'm not sure where to start here. Uh, right, I've uploaded, part 7 it was, wasn't it? And yeah, a few things came up recently. I started realising I could upload the video and put it on YouTube as a private video, and then I would look over some of the videos when I had some time, and then maybe just then make it public. So whereas first off, I started doing the videos, and each clip I would look at and maybe edit it, and maybe put some comments in and whatever. And it was a bit slow, and it was a bit easier to do it that way, but unfortunately, there was maybe some things creeping in, and I had to add them at comments at the beginning of the YouTube video. Well, that latest one, I think there was a big story at the beginning of it, and I suppose quite a few things needed addressed, and but I just eventually just thought I'll just chuck it out there. I mean, I even copied one of the clips that I'd already put in. I copied it in again, as I mentioned, as I put the comment in there. So yeah, it was a bit shoddy really. Maybe I need to just slow things down a bit. I'm just trying to. What I want to do is be able to come home and sit down and play a bit rather than worry. And if I can get the videos out to you guys, and you can tell me where I'm going wrong, because there's been a lot of things cropped up. But at least then I can fix them before they go too far. But yeah, I'd like to get back on top of it a bit better, because I don't want to rely on you guys to tell me where I'm going wrong. You know, the whole point of doing all this series of videos was to do it as good as I could without breaking any rules. You know, as error free as possible. Hard with a game like this, yeah. But I feel like I'm maybe letting it slack a bit now, and maybe I just need to slow things down, take a bit more care. I did slow things down a wee bit, and then I don't know, I was getting into it again, and looked like we were starting to hold things. Victory points haven't gone up. Figure that it's now the time. Well, maybe the 21st. It looks like where I can start pushing back, and obviously we're not going to get a fast win. It's going to be similar to the German soul, if anything. You know, it's going to take a while, but. Okay, so where did I begin talking about what's happened? Okay, I suppose just about the latest video that I've done, part 7, and all the comments before on the YouTube vid. As you can see, I've not the card's still here, the units are still. I've not even adjusted them. I just done this last night, and it was all this process was just to speed it up a bit, and I knew I might have had a bit of time tonight. Doesn't look like I'm going to have I'm in between 2 games of football. Just watched Denmark. What was it? Denmark, Czech Republic, wasn't it? And then we've got England, Ukraine to watch. So I'm really keen on watching that one to support. Yeah, who's it? Yeah. Anyway, so, but I did think I would have a little bit of time. Also, after the game, I might have a bit of time, because I'm up later tomorrow. I'm back shift tomorrow, so. Okay, so I made a comment about putting a clip in twice. I've just said that already. And I did make a comment saying that I would have had time. You know, it wouldn't have been difficult to have removed that clip, but I try to explain how I was doing it, as I've said there. Okay, and then also noticed that I decided to. Right, okay, give me a second. I still can't. Oh, you know what? I've just spotted it. Hold on. Right, I have no idea what happened here. Something must have. Here's this unit here. Sorry, I'm going to my last comment about. I have no idea what happened. This unit here suddenly appeared in this hex, and I've no idea where he was. Down here somewhere. I'm going to fix it once I look back and stuff. But I mean, I was talking about unit selector number 26. This could never have been here. And I remember when I moved this, I remember saying to myself, "Oh, it's a 58 core unit. I thought it was a 47th." I've no idea how that guy got there. I don't know where I've took him from now. Was it there? Well, you know what? I'm gonna have to look back on this anyway. Here's the unit selector number 26, and look, he's in the middle of nowhere. So something's happened. So I must have dropped something or something, and knocked or picked this unit up. Maybe I've picked him up and laid him there to concentrate. But how that unit ended up there, I've no idea. And all you can see in the video is me talking about unit selector number 26, and then all of a sudden this unit's here. I've no idea how that happened, and I can't even look back on any footage to see. Well, apart from I can look back to find out where that unit was. Whether I can look back to see me moving this unit, but I don't think I can. I think when I looked already. I'm going to have a look. There's a lot of mess to fix here, unfortunately. So I'm not going to be able to sit down and just enjoy a nice wee Allied Impulse, maybe, which is maybe all I would have had time for, to be honest. I'm going to have to fix things. And before that happened, I had, give me a sec. I had moved this unit. There was a stack of units in here. Well, there was 2 units in here. And moved them from... Yeah, it was here, wasn't it? Yeah. Because they left a detachment there. And I moved them here, but he would actually have wanted to move here because it's slightly more west. Again, moving adjacent to... Movement method 2. Moving adjacent to an Allied VP hex, but obviously then coming over tiebreakers, because he could have ended up here or here. Tiebreakers would have said there because the compass direction is west, but this stack was full, so I said, oh, okay, he can't move there, so I just automatically moved them there because there was a space in that hex. And then a little bit further on, when I was moving this Führer Brigade unit with must have been movement method 7, sorry, not 7, 11. Move closer to army objective. Yeah, move closer to army objective, basically. I decided that he could move here or here, but he would prefer this one because it's west. But this hex is fully stacked, and then I click and I go, oh, but hold on, I could temporarily overstack that if it's possible that another unit move, and I leave the unit in this hex, and then I find out there is a space and I move it. Well, this unit should have got that opportunity first because that was first in line to do that. So I'm gonna have to rewind that. What I think's going to happen is, well, in fact, you know what? I might have to look back on all that I'm doing here, but he should have definitely been able to get in there first before the Führer Brigade unit, okay? And then the Führer Brigade unit, well, actually, no, he would have moved in here. That's right. Okay. Yeah, this was my issue then, was it was going to leave this hex empty. And is that a problem? Yeah, this is going to be tricky to all work out. Because I'm such a... I don't want to say perfectionist, but because that feels a bit hard to achieve. This infantry would have moved here. Now, there would have been other things in there. At the moment, at the time he moved there would be 4 units in there, right? So, and then this fuel gauge unit would be left on his own in that hex. So, and he will move to here, because he would move 1, 2, braking zone of control, 3, 4, 5. Is that right? Oh no, he doesn't actually need to do that. He can just, yeah, I didn't think it was 5 movement. So it'd be 1, 2 into that clear hex, 3, 4 into that hex. Because, well, hold on, Grant. No, why can he not end up there as well? Because there's only 2 units in there. Oh, the plot thickens. Hang on. Yeah, there would be another space in that hex because, well, the 47 core unit that was in there that cloned himself into a 58th core unit and then moved out of the hex. You know what? I think I need to go back, reset the movement on this, and do this again. So I'm going to do that. So whether you'll see this 11 minutes and 21 seconds of video or not, if it's worthy of looking at, I'll leave it in. If not, I might just go, hi all, let's reset this. Hi all. Right, I'm hoping this isn't a hi all. I want to keep that first bit in there. There's 11 minutes there. But in case I don't, then okay. I've reset this last German impulse with the 5th Panzer Army card to some extent. We've found out that's the centre activation. I've also got the bridge here. Now, I know this bridge is kind of in there, but there's 3 bridges round this town and they're all now German controlled because all these units are activated. So it's activating 1, 2. Right, the main activation was activating 5th Panzer Army units, which is 1 there, 2, 3 there, 4, and then 5, because he's a 58th Corps unit. And then he grabs also the 2 first SS units and the 2nd SS unit that's in that stack. And by the way, there's that 58 Corps unit there. So I don't know what happened. Something's been moved out, and that's a mystery to me. So let's do this again, because there is a couple of things I got wrong, and then I was just about to make another wrong decision there because tactical adjustments. Remember, tactical adjustments. And yeah, I suppose while we're doing this, I did get a response regarding the errata clarification, if you like, within movement method 7. I don't know if it doesn't really clear it up for me, but it's got me thinking that it's errata, or to clarify, and I think it's overriding the rule, because the rule is saying you need to have moved adjacent, and I think this is what this errata is bringing in, that if you've got a unit that's not moved but its movement is considered complete, then it can still be adjusted. I think it's like overriding that. And I did kind of make the comment of that, I think, in my question, saying was it trying to maybe bend or break the rules slightly? And I think that's what's happening here. I'm still happy to have more feedback. I'll talk about it when we come to it. Because I'm not going to get all this in just now, but if I go maybe watch the football, we'll come back. I might have had a few beers though, so maybe one of the X-rated. No, it's not X-rated, but it's maybe not the best. When I watch it back, I cringe a little. But okay, well, let's get started at least, Grant. So that's the centre activation. We've done all the stuff. Yeah, this was the first unit to move. Yeah, unit selector 2, and let's just remind myself what he does, because I'm better just looking back on what I've done, because I know the things that have went wrong, but the things that went right, well, what I think has gone right is okay. Yeah, okay, there's a lot of discussion about which hex this guy would like to get to. He's moving by movement method 2, closer to his army objective and next to an ally VP hex. And the target here is Ufe for this guy. So he could jump into there, he could jump into there. I did want to try and get him around there, so then he would be not across the river. But he's not got the movement to do that. So between these two, this one's westernmost. So this is the hex he moves in it, right? Careful where you're moving these units, Grant. Remember where they are. So he moves in there, and I believe that's right. I think that one's good, okay? So let's see what happens next. Yeah, so the next unit is 13 with the infantry, and because it's him, he can use movement method 2 as well, which again is move to hex with closer to units army objective and adjacent to allied VP hex. So this is the one where I make a mistake, because I look at the possibility of reaching this hex. He can reach either of these two hexes, and again, because this one is western of this would be the preferred hex, but it's fully stacked, so I just chuck it out the window and say, right, well, I can't move there, so I end up moving him here to the other hex. Well, that's not the case, because we've already went through this before, and you can temporarily overstack. It says it when the overstacking rules. I'm not going to go into them, but if you have a look, it says that as long as you know, I don't know, that's not the word, is it? It uses a kind of stronger word. As long as you're sure that it's going to move it out, then you can do this. Well, I'm pretty sure this is going to happen. I'm pretty sure. Only because I've read ahead, I've read into it a bit more, and sort of. So 1, 2, 3. So I think he's going in here too, right? So I'm just going to stack them together. It's going to be a bit of a mess. So now we've got 4 units in there. Now detachment would be left there still. That's fine. Okay, so that's a slight change to what I actually did. Okay, so now we would then be moving on to movement method 7, this infantry unit, before we get to some other nonsense. So let's get this guy on the bottom. He is the only non-bracketed infantry unit adjacent to these allied units. So his movement is considered complete. Okay? Now, I'm still not tilting the guy around, because I feel like he could still build an IP, or possibly be moved to reserves and whatever. And I discussed that in the last part. It's all in that video, so I'm not going to go over that again. But then I came across the Errata 9.2 movement method 7, a German unit whose movement is considered complete, as described in method 7, may have its position adjusted per 9.24. So I've thought about this a bit more, and maybe I did get a response. Okay, so I'll tell you what the response is. Hang on. Okay, it's from Gene Selfish, who I've seen before, but is maybe not one of the more regular commenters that we've had. Commentators? No. Oh dear, you're showing yourself up here, Grant. He says, basically the entire thought process is Method 7 instructs a German infantry unit to stay adjacent to the Allied unit town, okay? It won't move unless it can improve its position relative to the enemy as per 9.24. For example, if it's stacked with a bracketed infantry unit, well, it doesn't. I don't think it needs to be bracketed, to be honest there, Gene. It will move, if possible, to a different unoccupied hex that's still adjacent to the same target. And yes, that sounds like, I think he's got this right. I think this is what the intention is. And I think maybe when I initially read that, I kind of like, I did suggest that it was trying to bend the rules a bit. Because it was a rat, it was trying to like look at 9.24 and maybe take that bit out that says you've got to have moved. Take that wee bit out. It doesn't have to have moved now. Now, because it's considered complete, can it then adjust to a better place? I mean, I still assume it has to have the capability to make the movement. But yeah, all that sounds good. That does sound good, and I'm getting that, and I think I'm going. I think I'm going with that. I like that. Because obviously the thing that's throwing me is 9.24 says to which a German unit is moving adjacent to an Allied unit. Well, we're not doing that. But then why would the errata say that? So the errata must be, I think the errata could be worded better to say its meaning. But it could just be that it's me. And you know what? There's something in the back of my mind that I feel that this has maybe come up before. Honestly, 9.24, 9.21, 9.22. I think I posted a comment way back saying that all them could be just the way that they're talked about that causes some confusion. But I think you're right there, Gene. I think that's the way that this should be considered. So I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with this now and change my thinking on this. Well, maybe not change my thinking. Sort of say, right, that's how it should be. So this unit, his movement is considered. The only thing now is, you know how I said, well, I think he ended up building IIP because he stayed where he was. He's going to have actually moved this time. So, yeah, still part of that, just something feels maybe still not quite right, but then why would they have that errata there? Why would they have that saying that? So, this guy, because he can reach this hex, he's already adjacent to this unit, he's the only non-bracketed infantry unit adjacent to this unit. So his movement is considered complete, but he can move out and in, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to move 1, 2 into here, and then 3 into there, to still be adjacent, the only non-bracketed infantry unit adjacent to these allied units. But he's now tactically adjusted himself to be in an empty hex. And you know what, it makes sense. You know what I mean? If you're playing the game yourself, you probably would have moved that unit. The strength to they want to have infantry units adjacent. You know what, I'm not 100% sure what the whole strategy in that is, and maybe if I took some of that on board, I'd maybe be doing better. But however, that's the rule is it wants a non-bracketed infantry unit adjacent to allied units, and then it wants to adjust them if it can. It wants to have empty. It would, if the guy could. Well, it doesn't suggest surrounding them, but it does say get to an empty hex. So we're going to go with that one, and but by all means, if anybody else wants to chime in on that one and let me know their thoughts, just to make sure, because I think the wording in the RA could be a bit misleading to what's in the actual rule. But I think you're right, Gene, and thanks for your comment. I've still not replied to your comment yet, but I will get around to it. I just had there's been that much going on. So, but a good one. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that. Until somebody tells me otherwise, we're going to go with that way of thinking. Okay, on to the next bit then. Okay, yeah, I just made my post back to Gene. Thought I'd better do it rather than leave it any longer. Saying, hi Gene, thanks for your response. This indeed makes the most sense to the errata that is written. I do feel they could have made a better job of that errata, however. The main thing that was throwing me was that 9.24 states that it has to be a German unit is moving adjacent to an allied unit. But I do now believe, after your comment, that errata is meant to exclude this part of the rule to allow the unit to tactically adjust itself. Which, yeah, it does make some sense, and in the back of my mind, it's feeling like this has came up maybe once before, but I don't know. Could have been way back. I know I've had difficulty with 9.24, 9.21, 9.22. I've struggled with them, and I remember coming back into the Allied solo, and when they first came up, I was like, oh yeah, I remember issues with these rules that are, hopefully, if they're similar in Kharkova, hopefully they've, I don't know, made them a bit more, streamlined them a bit maybe, or something. I don't know. Okay, right, I'm gonna have to go and watch football, guys, to support my team. So I'm hoping to come back, but yeah, I'd like to try and finish this and get all this cleared up. So well, I'll be able to just pause the camera there. Well, you know what? I better just take a cut just in case things go out of pot and I don't get back at all. So I'll cut it here, and I'll be back soon, guys. Okay, cheers. Hi all. Right, was just about to push on with this, fixing this mess, and Martin's come and tried to throw a spanner in the works. Yeah, just come back, and he's posted a comment saying, pretty sure you shouldn't activate any 6th Panzer Army units with the 5th Panzer Army card, despite the somewhat imprecise wording in the rules section. The card itself specifies 5th Panzer Army units, which is also consistent with the rules for other army group army cards in all the 3 games. I didn't like that. Now I've not read the. I mean, I've posted a response saying I'm not sure I agree with this. I haven't read the 2-player rules at all, so I don't know what they say. But I have played the German solo, and I went back and had a look at the rules for the German solo, and admittedly, if you play an army card, like if you were playing the 5th Panzer Army card here, then we would only be able to activate army units from the 5th Panzer Army, right? I get that, and I get that. He did mention the army group card. Now he might have got muddled up with that. That's true. He might not have noticed the army group card does say that you can activate other armies, right? It does say that in the rules anyway. Unless no, it does. It says regardless of corps or army assignment for the army group card, right? Okay, but he is right in saying that if you're playing the German solo, the 5th Panzer Army card will only activate 5th Panzer Army units. But we're playing a different solo system here, and we've already seen how, when I'm playing the Germans, I'm only getting to activate 5th Panzer Army units, right? I'm playing the Allies right now. Things can change. When you're not playing the AI, I think we've seen within this game, things can be a wee bit more brutal when you're not playing the AI side. Then when you go to play that side yourself, it's not as it's not as it was, shall we say. So I think it's more about that there, Martin. I could be wrong, and I'm happy to be proved wrong. Another thing I mentioned to him was, this thing that got me, when you're playing it as a, I don't know what a Kampfgruppe is, Kampfgruppen or whatever it is, but when you're playing the Germans, you activate as a Kampfgruppen, and when you're playing as the Allies, it doesn't activate as a Kampfgruppen, and why is that? I don't know. There's a slight difference between the 2 activations. With the Kampfgruppe, you place the marker wherever you want. It doesn't have to be on a unit, and you activate all the units within. Now, this is the other thing that I think might be because you're playing as the Germans, it's letting you kind of maybe pick a better hex for it, and because you're only allowed to activate all the 5th Panzer Army units, then you pick a hex. But when you're playing the army, the Allied solo, you don't pick a hex, you've got to pick one of the units from that army. And then, but after that, it does clearly say that once the unit is located, activate it and all units within 2 hexes. Now, okay, I suppose Martin's saying that there should be some errata in there that say that it should be from the same army. No, I don't agree with that one, Martin. I think that's built in to make a difference between the two systems. And I'm not just saying that because it's it's going to make even more of a mess than I'm in right now. No, I do feel that one. But yeah, come back to me again if I've got it all wrong. But I think because I'm in such a mess right now, I'm going to have to push on with what I've got. And if I was to have to turn back and not activate the 2 first SS and the second SS, well, right, I suppose I'm at the position now to do it. I suppose, if that was the case, I'm right now changing it. So if that means that they're not active, it's going to make me have to stop here again though to do that. Okay, I'm going to take a chance here and go against what the Butterfield guru is saying here and say that yes, I'm allowed to activate any units within 2 hexes, not just 5th Panzer Army units. I'm going to go with this one, and it might have something to do with the fact that I'm wanting to move on. No, that's not true, because I do want to get it right, and if he is right with us, I don't know, he doesn't, he says pretty sure, he's pretty sure. I don't see that, and there's quite a few cases that you could look at in the Allied solo and the German solo where you think, wait a minute, I didn't get that when I was playing as them, and then I didn't get that when I was playing as them, so I think it's just one of the cases, Martin, where they're just giving that bit more to the AI. I think so. I mean, why would the wording be like that? Surely it wouldn't be a big blunder like that. It's not. I mean, if there was a rata, but there's not. Well, I don't think there is. Yeah, I'm going to stick with what I'm going here. So, but by all means, do bring it up, and if you want to ask John, yeah, absolutely. I want to play by the rules and whatever, but it's not saying that in the rules, and yeah, you did say unprecise wording. So I'm going to stick with what I've got, just so I can play a wee bit more tonight, mainly. But no, if you come back soon enough, I'll try and reverse it. I will. Okay, so I had just moved the infantry unit, and that was a different situation as well. I chose to go with this errata that's within the rules, and what Jean had posted kind of made sense to me. Like I say, there's something scratching in the back of my mind saying that this has come up before, and I might have spoke about this before, and maybe moved a unit like that before, but it's not been within any video playthrough that I've made, but maybe one of the playthroughs I've done myself, and it might have been through questions that I've asked as well. So, okay, so yeah, I was just paused the recording there, so I'll see what was next after the infantry unit. I think we move on to 10 to 13 movements now. Okay, yeah. I was just about to move on to 10 to 13. Martin must be online at the minute. So he's caught my comment. He's came back and said what I meant is being consistent is that a German army card only ever allows activation of units in the army. And then he does state that, for example, it does not include stacked units like allied command cards. So my point was that Army Group B card does allow units of the arm. Oh, hang on. I'm maybe not reading that properly. Give me a second. Okay. I'm not really sure where I stand with this. I still kind of feel like this hasn't come up before. It's clearly written in the rule book that way. I'm not saying that that could be a mistake, but you think something like that might have been brought up by now. I'm going to stick with this just now and just try and get this impulse finished, and then maybe I can converse with Martin a little bit more on what we think about this. Okay, so movement methods 10 to 13, let's get it going. Okay, let's go on with this. Right, movement method 10, and these are both selector number 7. We decided this was the lowest. Right, I'm just going to leave that cube there. That's the centre of the activation. But so this is second SS. It can't move the arrows, but it can get closer to its army objective, which is up there, by going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into there. It's now 3 hexes closer. So that move was right, okay? Okay, this next one's a really tricky one, I think. So we're talking about this guy, can't move the arrows, move in closer to his army objective, which is down that way. And the previous move, we wanted to move into here. Remember, this infantry unit's in here as well. There's 4 units in here at the minute, but 2 of them haven't moved yet. Okay, so we could look ahead. Here's the tricky part though. So he can move into this hex or this hex, and both of them will be 1 hex closer to his army objective, right? This would be the westernmost, which is the compass direction of the army objective. So this would be the preferable hex between the two, okay? But then, now he's the only unit in this hex. So my thinking is that he'll, because I think he can move into here, because going by what we've seen, I think both the other 2 units are moving out, right? So I think he would be able to move into that hex, being 1 hex closer. But because he's adjacent to this allied unit, he would then need to say, well, tactically, I want to be in an empty hex. So I think that means he's going to actually stay there. And that's really like, oh, that's... wow. Yeah, I mean, when you've got to do things like that, and I think I did come across it before a couple of times, that's tricky to decide that. And I mean, even more so when we're talking about moving in a hex, there's 4 units in it already. I'm wanting to move it into there, and it looks like the 2 units have moved out, so it looks like legit he could move into there. But then he's wanted to tactically adjust and be. So I think he's going to stay where he is. So it looks like I just want to complete this impulse, and maybe I think I'm going to complete this and just chuck this out there as the next part, because it's gathering some time as well. So, and then we'll see if we can get all this worked out, because this is there's a few other things to discuss as well, to be honest. So I could probably create a whole part with this. Okay, so who's next? Okay, give me a sec. Yeah, okay, I remember in this one now. I'm just looking back at the video. So we're on unit 8. And well, this is assuming Martin's not going to completely put that spanner right in there, because this is a 6 Panzer Army unit. But anyway, I'm sticking with it at the moment. So he's 1, 2, 3, 4 away from his army objective, and I end up with him here, 1, 2, 3 away, and that's right. I did talk about him coming round, because try to be adjacent to an allied unit still, maybe get the 3-to-1 advantage, but that's still going to be 4 away. So I worked all that one out and decided that 1, 2 breaking zone of control, 3, 4, 5 6 in there, so I'm going to stick with that one now. Well, both the units are 6 army units. We've got another one as well, have we not? Was he already? Yeah, he already moved, didn't he? Well, we're just going to have to go with this. Like I say, I've not got time to do anything more than this, and maybe talk about a couple of other mistakes that have cropped up. And then maybe we're just going to let the dust settle and come back. To be honest, it might be a couple of days before I can get another wee shot anyway, so that might be a good thing. So maybe try and put this together as a part that's like full of just all this nonsense, really. Maybe not something everybody wants to watch, but alright, okay, so that was Unit 8, so I think we're on to, we've got 15 and then 26, and that's 26, he's there, right? So if he miraculously teleports somewhere else, I don't know how that happened. I really don't. Even looking back in the video, I don't know how that happened, but so Unit 15, right, I'll have a look and see what I've done with him. Okay, yeah, this unit is still going to do the same move. He's going to come down to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There was talk about getting here, being 1 hex closer to his army objective, but he would need to have a 3 to 1 advantage on these units. I think I talked about that. There's 7 strength there. We're only going to have 6 strength at the most against 7. That is not 3 to 1. So, that's not going to happen. So he's going to, yeah, I think so. 1, 2, breaking zone of control, 3, 4, 5, and that's where there was a detachment. And well, that's a detachment I took out of there. Was it? Yeah, I think it was. No, maybe not. And I don't think that's breaking anything either. It's not as if any of the guys are surrounded. That was one thing I went back to thinking, can we not surround some of them? Was there not an option? But this is all across the river and it's far too much. Well, we can't go around, there's no gap because there's an allied unit here, an allied unit there, so there's no gap. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with that. Right, so the last one to deal with selector number 26. He went into the Bermuda Triangle, I think. I'm just going to watch the video back and just see what happens. See if I can see anything. No, I've still no idea. I talk about, well, this infantry unit's still here at the time because we're messing with that. And then I say, well, maybe I'm reading it wrong. And then I say, right, well, we've still got Unit 26 to go then. And then this is what you see, and then all of a sudden, this is what you see. So I've no idea what's happened there at all. I cannot understand what went on there. So we'll just have to put that down to some, I don't know, something spooky going on. Yeah, but I get him to make the same movement. I eventually realised that I think I try and move by arrows, and the arrows are this way, this way, this way, this way. They're all the primary arrows. At first, I forget the breaking zone of control, and I think 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh well, that's no good because I've still got 1 to go. 1, 2, 3, well I could go up that way, 4, that's no good. And then I realise that I'm breaking zone of control, so it's 2 movement. So 2, 3, 4, and sticking by the primary arrows rather than the secondary. And it doesn't matter, I'm still going to end up adjacent to an allied unit. I stick with the primary and end up there. And I think that's right. And there you go, there's still only 2 units in this hex, whereas we were considering moving that in to have it 5 at one point, so that would have been able to move in there. But I think he's done the right thing by not moving in there, because of the tactical adjustments. But that's a tricky one. That's one to easily not see, especially when you're looking at temporarily overstacking a hex and then there's some there's some tough ones to get. But that's what I love about this game. I really do. Although I'm gonna show you a daft mistake that I've made that John Brown picked up. That you think, oh, how did you just do something simply stupid like that, Grant? But however, right, I'm going to go with that. Now this unit wouldn't have done anything then, so I suppose, yeah, he could build an IP, couldn't he? Because he's just sat there, and that's going to be it. So slight difference to what it should have been. Now, whether everything's right there or not, could depend on what Martin finds out or comes back with regarding if I'm allowed to have activated the six Panzer Army units. No, hang on. He's actually come back with something just now. Hang on. Okay, Martin's come back again, and he's starting to get me thinking his way. He's got this way about him. It changes your mind. No, to be honest, the way he's stating things, I think it could be a just a wording issue within the rules. Because on the card, where what have I done with the card? Yeah, 5th Panzer Army card. It says activate the 5th Panzer Army unit with most non-bracketed 5th Panzer Army units within 2 hexes in all those units. So activate the 5th Panzer Army unit with most non-bracketed 5th Panzer Army units within 2 hexes and all those units. So if you read that, take it in, it's just talking about 5th Panzer Army units. And I think that's where he got me starting to think he's got a point. Now I did think it might be something, just a change in the AI, because we're playing the Allies now and not the Germans, and there might be a difference. And I think what throws you is the rule book actually says locate the non-bracketed unit in the card's army that has the most non-bracketed units within 2 hexes of the unit. And then it talks about to be encoded, right? Once a unit is located, activate it and all units within 2 hexes, including bracketed units regardless of supply. So it does sound like, well, something's wrong, because the rulebook is saying all units, right? And that's what I done. I activated all units within 2. And I think what kind of threw me that way is because you don't consider non-bracketed, you don't consider bracketed units when you're doing the check, then you do encode them afterwards. And I kind of thought, we don't consider 6 Panzer Army units while I'm doing the check, or 7 Panzer Army units while doing the check, which I didn't consider them. But once the check's over and you've decided that, then it's all units, it's all go, it's all in, whatever's within 2 of that. And that's what the rule book suggests. So, and then when Mark brought it up, I thought, well, maybe, we're the Allies this time. The Germans are going to get to activate more units than they normally. Like, if we were playing the Germans, we would only get the 5th Panzer Army units, right? But the Germans are under the AI. So what generally happens there is the AI gets a wee boost. It gets to do things that we wouldn't been able to do. And I guess that's what, that's how I seen is what's happening here. And the rulebook kind of suggests that's what's happening. But when you look into it, I mean, it needs sorted. The rulebook's wrong. But then again, this this card's wrong. And what came up recently, somebody had made a comment that apparently the Enemy Action Kharkov, I think this was on the Facebook page that I was on, said that they're going to, if you get Enemy Action Kharkov, they're going to supply the Arad cards. And I think this was one I picked up, because it says same division there, and that should say same corps. And it's not just that, there's a few other cards with some misprints on it. Actually, this one in the discard pile, that says first SS along the top. That's not, it's the second SS, so that's something wrong as well. But, well, whether that's wrong wording, to me, I think Martin's probably right, and the wording is wrong in the rulebook. Kind of strange that one's not being brought up, but then when I brought this one up regarding same division, same corps, I remember getting a reply to John saying that he was quite surprised that hadn't came up before. So it's all these things, the game's been out for some years now, and I suppose we're still getting clarification to the rules, and that it just shows you how much there is in these games. Okay, well, what I said to just reply to Martin now, I said I'm starting to sway your way now, but I'll stick with what I've got. It means that these two units and the first SS unit under here might not have done what they should have, what I'd made them do, shall we say. So maybe another rewind again, but let's try and get something done. Well, I'm not getting anything done tonight at all. I'm just going to show you another couple of errors that have been brought up. So, right, let's move on for that bit. Actually, I think this is the only one that I had an issue with. And John Brown brought this up. Maybe Maury's noticed this. Where were they? Actually, I need to go and find the video. Hang on. Yeah, all these second SS units were across here, and they were getting closer to their army objective. Yes, by all means. But Grant decides that there's no restriction on pushing them across a unbridged river side, so he just throws them all across in here. So yeah, one of the sort of errors that came up way back at the beginning of the game, and I think maybe it's just like left my thoughts. Yeah, I'm just thinking, I can go across, I can move one hex, I'll move them all across. Well, no, I can only move one unit across an unbridged river hex side. I mean, one could go there, one could go there, yeah, but only one can go from here to here. So it would be Unit 4 that gets to do that, and these two then can't follow. John has a suggestion where they might go. Quick glance makes me think the rest of those two SS units will move to 0314 via the bridge southwest out of RVA. Okay. It could be right, yeah, because at the moment there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away, and if they did get to here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away, yeah. Yeah, it looks like he's going to be spot on, because these two hexes are full, like we said. 1, 2, 1. That's a road, isn't it? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we can't get in there. What are we here, John? Hang on. 1, 2, 3. We could get into 414. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I think they would go there, strangely enough, because it's again, it's just west of that hex, and it's the same distance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. yeah, I think they're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then 2 into there. I assume, yeah, it must have been movement method 11, close to our army objective. So it's maybe a bit odd them moving down to there, but yeah. I think just the fact that hex is just more west. So did we? Oh no, we tried to put one there already, Grant. Oh no bother putting it there again. Yeah, I think they two might go there, John. I know you said there, but it was a quick glance you said, and it looked good at first, but there's just this whole west bit, and they can reach there, which is slightly more west. I mean, they'd probably, well, maybe not. I was going to say they'd probably like to be on the road, but that road kind of goes down, so maybe that's right. Well, you know what, we'll go with that, because there's that many things we've got to probably, we might well be changing quite a few things again. I'm pretty sure all this stuff that I've just been yakking about is probably going to take up about an hour anyway, so I'm just going to upload this as sort of the next part, but I'll put some warnings at the beginning to say that there's not any gameplay, it's just some general fixing, and I'll chat about some things. It's good to get some of these things ironed out. I was sure there was another couple of things, just let me have a wee think before I end the video anyway. Yeah, maybe there wasn't anything else I was going to talk about, just felt like there was a few other things in my head, but maybe not. I'm just going to leave these units tilted just now, just to give me some idea of what's happened, because I'm not going to move on to an allied impulse now. It's too late now, so that's all your fault, Martin. But no, I do want to do it right. Don't like the way it's written in the rule book, but yeah, you've got me thinking that it probably is the right way to be looking at it. Okay, so, well, I don't know, hopefully you get around to asking John, or get some kind of confirmation. That should be something that should be in a RA, surely. The wording in the rule book, but it's just the wording, or to be honest, maybe Martin's just interpreting that way, you know, all units within 2 hexes. I'm seeing that as all units within 2 hexes, but he's maybe reading it as saying, oh, okay, all 5th patterns are army units within 2 hexes, but however, might be better worded. Okay, so I'm going to leave that for now, and going to have a look at these videos and see if they're worthy of putting out there to you. But I'll probably put some comments at the beginning for anybody that doesn't want to watch all this nonsense. But we'll see. Okay, guys, I'll leave it for now, and well, we'll probably come back with some more discussions, but we'll get around to that allied impulse soon. Okay, cheers.